Welcome to Module 6, Effective Communication with Staff and Students. So in this module, we are going to be learning about how to introduce yourself to the class, working with school staff and administrators, and setting expectations with students. We've done a lot of setting expectations with students, but we'll go over it again and we'll start with that. So setting expectations is extremely important as a substitute teacher because it helps them just know that you are in charge. It's class management and it's how you manage the kids. So you don't have to have anything that is super hard for them, but you can just say something like, you're going to work hard today in class. This is your assignment, and give the assignment and say, we're going to work hard because you have a test tomorrow. If that's true, then say that. You don't have to say that if it's false, but something along those lines. You can say also, respect each other and respect everything in this classroom. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today, and I will respect you as students. And something like, learn something new. We learn something new every day, and it makes our world so much better when we learn something. So you can do that for any grade that you have. But setting expectations just really shows them that you care about their safety, you care about being their teacher for the day, and you care that they are put on a positive note. But with expectations, make sure that you do have confidence for, I forget the word, consequences. Oh my gosh. Okay. So how to introduce yourself to the class. This can be what you want to be called. I always say, hi guys, my name is Mrs. Watts. It's so nice to meet you. You don't have to go by Mrs. or Mr. If you want to go by Miss W or whatever, go by what you want to be called by. Just in our culture, in the United States, I feel like it's Mr. and Mrs. or Miss. Mr. is always the same, I guess, but they never truly use your first name. But if you want them to, then let them know that. It's really that simple. Working with staff and students. So we'll do working with students first. And I'm going to talk about like more behavior wise and how you really talk to them. So say you have a student who is not on task and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Instead of yelling at them, never ever yell at a student. Never say anything in front of their peers that will embarrass them, or even just calling them out will embarrass them. So I would suggest like talking to them, maybe outside of the classroom or just pulling them aside, however you can do it. And just saying, hey, I see that you're off task. Is there an issue? Is there something that you want to talk about? And show them that you care, and hopefully that they say like, oh, you know what? I had a math test and it was really hard, and so I'm just having a hard time focusing right now. That is showing that you are communicating with them and that you can understand, you can give that empathy to that student. If they did something against the expectations that you gave, then communicate that. Say, hey, remember when I said this in the beginning of class? You're doing it right now. You overstepped my boundary. Okay? Take a minute to think about what you did. Okay? If it wasn't something bad, then talk to them about boundaries or whatever it is that they did, and then move on. If the student was really bad, they had a bad day, you send them to the principals and they come back. One thing that I really do like to do is communicate to them that they are a good person. I think a lot of the times we label these kids as bad. They're such a bad kid and stuff, when really something could be going on at home and they might just need that attention. But I also like to differentiate between their behavior and them. Okay, so something that I say to them when I had a bad student, or just said, like, don't say a bad student, but if I had a student who disrespected me or did something that required to go to the principal, I would say, I want you to know that I really enjoy having you in class, and I think that you are smart. You have a lot going for you for your future, but I want you to know that your attitude and your choice today was not the best. So when I have you next time, I want you to think about whatever it is that they did before you do it again. Okay? We're going to have a good day, okay? You're going to have a good class next period, right? And they're like, yeah, okay. Pound, whatever, move on. That's what I like to do with students, because I think that they automatically start thinking that you hate them. And no, sometimes it kind of shows that we are annoyed with them, but it's important that they know at their age, no matter the age, that they are good people and they made a choice, and we all make choices in life, but we need them to know that sometimes their choice has consequences, but we still care about them and that they are a good person. Okay, so communicating with staff. Communicating as a substitute teacher with staff is really important. You do want to communicate your needs. So maybe you're in a classroom with no substitute plans. Well, you're not going to just sit there and cry because you have no substitute teacher plans. No. You can go right next door to the teacher and say, hey, so-and-so didn't leave lesson plans. Do you know what we're doing today? How can I help with whatever? Or you can go to the office and say, there was no lesson plans. What should I do? That goes a long way. If you are in special education, you can communicate. Maybe the teacher talked to you, like emailed you plans, and she said, hey, I have a student who is a runner and I have another student who's a climber. And you want to communicate that you're a little bit nervous. Like, maybe you went in early and you said, can you teach me your ways on how you keep the climber and the runner from not leaving the room or doing something if I'm alone in the classroom? Can you give me some tips? You can communicate that way. Calling the principal when you need help. And it's always a good thing just to communicate. If you communicate, your job will go so much smoother and people will be communicating with you. On the other end, you might have teachers, if you're having a bad class management day, and you're only human, and I know that you will, because I know I do, and it's just how it goes. Days can be interesting. There's going to be days where another teacher comes in and yells at you. That's communicating. It's not the best communication skills, but they yell at you for it, or they yell at the students, whatever. Communicating is key, super key. And as a substitute teacher, if you are able to communicate your needs, communicate what you need, your life is going to go so much better. The day is going to go so much smoother, and everyone will win. Students will learn, and you'll just have an easy time. So this video was short and sweet, and we talked about how to communicate, how to communicate with students, and how to communicate with staff. I can't talk today. Having expectations with the students and how you can communicate those expectations with their consequences if you have any. And then how you introduce yourself to the class. If you want your name to be Mrs. Watts, if you want to be Miss W or Mrs. W or Miss Alexa, however it is that you want to do. It's up to you. Okay, next video is going to be on time management and lesson transitions. I will see you there.